just eating. I'm sorry. I thought I'd go ahead and do another video. Put my pajama pants on. I'm getting ready to relax. Anyway. Okay, so, sorry. So I just filmed my confirmations video, but I thought I'd go ahead and film another video. About how I used to be. I'm going to call this, I believe I'm going to say, if God can change me, he can change you too. Because I was such a broken person before I came to Christ. Fast forward to childhood, or not fast forward, but go back to childhood. Excuse me, I was always one of those people that never fit in. I never fit in. Even when I was in elementary school, people made fun of me. I was always the tall, skinny girl. And I just didn't fit in, you know. I was shy. I was real shy. I didn't really talk to anybody and have any friends. I grew up in Colorado. Well, I went to school in Colorado Springs for a little bit. There I didn't have any friends. Well, I'm going to tell you a story. This was back when I was like in kindergarten, first grade-ish. I was real young. There was this one boy that I really liked, right? I'll never forget. His name was Scott. And I liked him so much. Like, every day, that's what I went to school for. I went to school just to see him, you know. We became friends, right? Because I didn't have any girlfriends, because the girlfriends, not girlfriends, but girls for friends, I didn't have any because they always made fun of me. They didn't like me for some reason. I was shy, I didn't really talk, so they would just make fun of me all the time. They making fun of how skinny I was. They making fun of my frizzy hair and everything. They made fun of my skin color. Because the school that I went to, there wasn't any black people. There wasn't any black people at all. I was the only one. But anyway, I liked this guy. We actually became friends. We would actually slide and on the slide together, swing together. We were friends for like a month or two. And I was so happy because I thought he liked me, you know, because I really liked him, but I was too afraid to tell him. This was in first grade. I mean, it's like, you know, I was really young, in other words. And so, I remember one day, he told me this girl that he liked. He was like, I like this girl. I remember her name was Kelsey, right? He's like, I really like that girl. And that really made me mad. Like, I was like, oh, you're supposed to like me. What's going on? You know, I'm the one hanging out with you every day. What the heck is going on, right? So one day we were sliding on the slide and he left. He went to go talk to that girl and ask her out, and she said yes. He'd come back to me and he's like, he was so excited. He was like, yes, I went out with her. I'm going out with her. She said yes, you know, blah, blah, blah. I took his hands in my hands, right? We had our hands like this, like his hand was like this, my hand was like this, and I bent his fingers back like that. And I made him cry, like I bent him back like that, and I made him get down to his knees, and I made him cry, and I ran away, right? And I ran away to this little corner so that I could see him. That girl came over to him, and she's like, oh my God, who did this to you? So I got in trouble for that. And then we weren't friends anymore. I don't know what came over me, just like this evilness came over me, and I just wanted to hurt him for hurting me, you know what I mean? And then we moved, not too long after that, we moved away. And I really didn't have any friends after that, because I mean, of course, naturally, he told everybody, and that girl that he liked, she was really popular, and she told everybody, and they really didn't like me. They thought I was the evil child, right? So, not too long after that, we moved to New Mexico. Same situation, I didn't have any friends. But then I met this one girl. Her name was Danielle. She was a bad influence. Like, she was, you know, she would cuss. And I went to her house a couple of times, and my mom stopped me from going over her house because she didn't like her. Okay? So that friendship ended after a month or so. And then I was back to having no friends. Okay, so when I got to fifth grade, I got asked out by this other guy. His name was Eli. I got asked out by him, and we went out for a couple of days. We held hands in the hallway, and this was in fifth grade, like I said, and we would talk to each other. You know, it wasn't any. I never kissed him. I never hugged him or anything, but it wasn't really like anything uh, serious. You know, we considered ourselves going out, right? Well, one day my friend, well, not my friend, but one of his friends, told me that he saw him at the skating rink holding this other girl's hand. I was like, oh my gosh, you know. So I went up to him and I told him, I confronted him, and we broke up. That was it. He told me the reason why he was with that other girl is because I wouldn't kiss him and I didn't want to hug him. I was in fifth grade. I wasn't ready for all of that. You know what I mean? um, so fast forward to middle school, I started playing basketball, and this was a very vulnerable time for me because I didn't have any friends, and my legs were so skinny that a lot of the girls made fun of my legs, so I would always wear pants during basketball practice and during PE because my legs were so skinny they were making fun of them. I remember I used to wear a pair of sweatpants underneath my regular jeans to make my legs look like I had some legs, you know? That's how insecure it became. That's how bad it got because the girls would they were making fun of me about it. Um, so, you know, I had a really tough time in middle school. Um, the friend that I did end up getting, we were friends in seventh grade, I believe. Yeah, and her name was Regina. She moved away though, sadly. So we weren't friends. We were only friends for that year. I was back to having no friends. Um, well, fast forward to middle school. Um, I hooked up with these two girls. Their names are Jessica and Sherry. They became good friends with me. We would spend the night at each other's houses. I finally felt like I had a group of friends that cared about me. You know, we would spend time together. We talked with each other. We passed notes to each other. You know, I finally felt like I belonged. You know, I started coming out of my shell. I started talking more. They were friends with other people, and I started talking to those friends that they were with. You know what I mean? And we became best of friends. I remember. I'll never forget Jessica and Sherry. We're still friends. Well, we're not friends, but we still talk now and then till this day. Um, but anywho, we hooked up. We hit it off. You know what I mean? We were really good friends. And in 10th grade, yeah, in 10th grade, when I was 15, I started dating this guy. We dated. I lost my virginity to him at 15. I became pregnant. My whole life changed. This is the father of my first son. My whole life changed. I was 16 when I had my first son. I had to drop out of school and take care of a baby. I was a baby taking care of a baby. Just put it that way. I had to tell my mom I was pregnant. God, that was a sad day. She was so disappointed. She was so upset. I'll never forget the look on her face. I disappointed my mom so bad that day. But I had to tell her I was pregnant. The way I found out is I took a pregnancy test, and it was positive. I missed my period that month. And so my mom took me to the doctor. Come to find out, I'm 3 months pregnant. 3 months pregnant. I already could find out what the baby was. They already could tell me what I was having. I was having a boy. So, not that I wanted to have an abortion, but my mom and everybody was like, maybe you should because you're so young. But I didn't want to have an abortion. I decided to keep the baby, but I couldn't have had one even if I wanted one because I was so far along. But anyway, had the baby. I ended up graduating school. I went ahead and did the outbound program. I did the paperwork. I got my diploma. I graduated from school on time with my class. Baby in hand, baby in my arm, walked the stage with the baby on my hand. Got my diploma. And then our relationship, or not my husband, well, we did get married. I got married at 17, and he was 18. And he was already graduated from school. He had a job and everything. He had a good job. And we got married, and things weren't going so well. We broke up a couple of times. We got back together. I ended up falling out of love with him, I guess is the best way to describe it. I ended up getting a job. We both had a job at the same place. I ended up getting a job, and I ended up getting interested in the father of my other three children. I was still married, which was not good. Anyway, I was still married, and I didn't tell him that I was married, and later on when he found out, he got upset with me, but we worked it out. I didn't get married to the father of my three children. I didn't get married. We stayed together for 8 years. It was an up and down relationship, very ungodly. I mean, abuse, everything. I wasn't drinking heavy liquor and all that, but I liked wine. I could drink a whole bottle of wine in one night. I liked the buzz feeling. I never really got drunk, to where I was throwing up and stuff, but I did like getting buzzed every night. I would drink almost a whole bottle of wine every night. So I liked wine. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I would drink my wine. I love my wine. And so we were in a very bad relationship. It was a very bad relationship, very up and down. We cheated on each other. We lied to each other. You name it. We had the worst relationship ever. We weren't married. Yeah, anyway. I'm going to say about 2 years into our relationship, I got really caught up in vanity. And what I mean by vanity is I love to wear makeup. I would smother my face with makeup. I had probably $1,000 worth of makeup. I had over 200 pairs of shoes. I had a whole walk-in closet full of clothes. I was all about my clothes. I was all about my makeup. I was all about my shoes. I didn't care about anything else. I worked to go buy stuff. I also wore a lot of fake wigs back then. I would wear long fake hair. I was real caught up into vanity. I was real caught up in the world, put it that way. I even started YouTube channels before this channel. Fashion blogging. I was a blogger. I was fashion blogging, makeup blogging. And I'm not bashing anybody that wears makeup or that is into fashion, but for me, it was excessive. That's what I lived and died for. I found myself really unhappy. I was really empty. I was like, God, I was wearing makeup and fake hair and all these fancy clothes just to get attention, just for guys to get attention. I liked the attention. I was getting attention from all the wrong places. Guys that were caught up in vanity as well didn't see me for who I was. They saw me for what I looked like. And so I was like, I felt really empty, I was really empty inside. I was like, man, God, there's got to be more than this. And so I started picking up my Bible. I started reading my Bible, and I started looking at programs like Joyce Meyer, Joel Osteen, Joseph Prince, stuff like that. I started reading books, and God just started to really speak to me, and He started to really change my life around. I started finding fulfillment in reading the Word. I started finding fulfillment in reading books and reading spiritual books instead of putting on makeup all day like I was doing. All I thought about was money, makeup, clothes, and shoes. I mean, that's basically what I thought about. And fake hair. I probably had over 30 wigs, you know, or more. You can imagine how much makeup I had. And so I remember God kept speaking to me. He kept putting in my heart. And as I started learning the word, I started quoting scripture. I started to pray. And God just really started to speak to me. He started changing my heart around. And I started getting rid of things. It was crazy. It's just the craziest thing. I just started praying, God, show me what I'm supposed to do. And God just kept telling me, get rid of things, get rid of things, get rid of this. One day I went through my whole cabinet. I got rid of every single piece of makeup except for a tube of mascara, a tube of lipstick, and a tube of eyeliner. That's all I had, 3 pieces of makeup. I got rid of everything else. I probably had over 100 lipsticks. 80 eyeliners. I probably had over 50 eyeshadow palettes. I had so much makeup. I had so many nail polishes. I had so much. It was just crazy. So one day I went through my closet. I got big old black trash bags and I threw it all in the dumpster. Threw it all away. I started, I don't know if you guys know what Plato's Closet is. I started selling all of my clothes to Plato's Closet and getting some money off of it. So I got rid of probably about 50% of my shoes and clothes that way. And then about another 20% of them I gave away to the Goodwill or to my sister or to my mom, I gave away a lot of stuff. And then he started talking to me about music, like hip-hop music and secular music. He started purging me of that. I started getting disgusted with myself for listening to that music, quoting around, going around saying, F-U-B, all that stuff. I got rid of that. I started getting rid of my cussing. I stopped cussing. I stopped lying, you know what I mean? I used to be one of those people that just would make up lies just to make it up, just to do it, just for no reason. I used to do that. I stopped doing that. I started teaching my kids the word. I bought them all a Bible, and I would actually sit down and we would have Bible studies together. I wasn't going to church yet, but then I became a flight attendant. Okay, so when I was a flight attendant, this was a hard time. I had to get rid of any clothes that I didn't get rid of before. I probably got rid of about 90% of my clothes. And this is no joke. I got rid of about 90% of my clothes. I was down to like bare minimums. I had a couple pairs of jeans, a few shirts. A few pair of shoes, and that was it. So I applied to be a flight attendant. I got the job. I flew to Texas for 5 weeks to do training. So all I had in my suitcase was, what could fit in a suitcase, about this big, suitcase. Regular, like a regular size suitcase. It wasn't a big suitcase. It wasn't a small one. It wasn't terribly huge either. So I packed up, went to training, and I was away from my children too for 5 weeks, which sucked. And then they based me in Chicago. So I had to fly to Chicago, got based there. I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have anywhere to live while I was in Chicago. I was going back and forth, back and home, flying back and forth. Anywho, money was very little. Didn't have much food. Didn't have very many clothes because, like I said, I could only have what I could fit in a suitcase. It was a very hard time for me, so I really started I really started diving into my word, reading my word, praying. I had a lot of time to spend with the Lord because I was in a hotel room most of the time. When you're a flight attendant, they fly you to hotels, and you've got to stay in a hotel until you're ready for your next flight. So I was by myself. And I needed that time. Yes, I was away from my children, but I needed that time to reflect with God. And at that time, He helped me to let go of the man that I was with as well. Because like I said, I worshipped drinking. I worshipped makeup, I worshipped clothes, I worshipped shoes, and I worshipped the man that I was with. I thought I was gonna die without him. I was so attached to him. I thought I loved him. I accepted so many things that I shouldn't accepted from him, abuse and everything, because I felt like I couldn't live without this man. I thought I loved him so much. But during that time, God detached me from him. I was like, he let me know, he helped me to know that I didn't need this man. I really didn't need this man. And I felt free. God, he really gave me a joy and a peace. And I discovered Jesus. And it was just, sorry, that's my computer. It was just a wonderful time. I experienced things that I didn't know were there. I experienced a joy and a happiness that I didn't know I could have. And as God was changing me, and as he was showing me the person that I could be and the person that was truly in there the whole time, I felt free. I was freed. I got rid of a lot of things. So when God told me it was time to go, I went. I only took my children, my van, and the little bit of clothes that I could grab, and we left. I came to Alabama not knowing what was going to happen, how I was going to make it. I only had $800 to my name, 200 of which I spent getting to Alabama. So I only had $600 to make it. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had to quit my flight attendant job. I didn't have anything. Thankfully, through friends and through family members, I got beds. They gave me pots and pans. My grandmother had a building that she wasn't using. It's now a barber shop. So that's crazy. That gives you the idea of what kind of building I was living in. Yes, it technically had 4 bedrooms in it, but it was an actual shop. It was a building. Um, and it was cold. That winter was so cold. But God got me through it. He got me through it because it's a brick building, and inside was the floor was nothing but cement, and the inside was brick wall. So you can imagine how cold it was in there. There was no heat. And even with heaters, even with space heaters, it still wouldn't warm up. It was cold, but God got us through that. And that was the building that I met my husband in as well. So I just wanted to share that testimony with you because now I have such a joy, a peace. I met my husband. I'm in a nice apartment now. We both drive nice vehicles. We have money now. God, in other words, will turn nothing into something. God sees the whole picture. You only see 1/10 of the picture. God sees the whole nine. Sorry, there, there was something flying up there. Anyway, I'm terrified of bugs. Anyway, you only see 1/10 of the picture. God sees the whole the whole other part of the picture. Um, Trust in God. I can't say that enough. I know I've said that so many times on this channel. Trust in God. Pray. Stay in your word, because God will give you a joy, a peace, a happiness, a radiance that you didn't have, that you didn't know was inside of you before. I mean, I find myself, even in trying times, even when things aren't going so great, I still find an inner peace, an inner joy, an inner happiness that, say, if I was going through that a couple of years ago when I wasn't in the Lord, I would have felt apart. I would have felt like the world was ending. You know what I mean? I would have reached out to everybody else but the Lord, put it that way. I use things like Facebook and Instagram to fill my voids. Now I read my word, and I have so much joy in just spending time with God. When I come in God's presence, that's everything to me. Everything. I don't know how I got by without it. Now I don't need all of that secular music. I don't need anybody else to fill that void for me. I have God. I have joy. I have a peace that I just never had before. And if God can change me, and if he can do that for me, I promise he can do it for you. I promise he can do it for you. Just put your trust in the Lord. Put your strength in the Lord. Put everything into the Lord. Because without the Lord, you cannot do anything. When you put it in your own strength, it's gonna... I can't tell you how many times I fell on my butt and God has had to pick me back up. I'm still learning till this day. I'm not perfect. You think I'm perfect just because God told me to start a channel to share with you my testimonies and to share with you what he's teaching me, that I'm perfect? No, I am not perfect. I'm human like you are. There's still things that God is working on me with. But the point is, I have my strength and my hope in the Lord now. I don't have to use social media anymore. I don't have to use makeup. I don't have to use shoes. I don't have to use clothes. I don't have to use money. I don't have to use anything in this world, really, to help me. You know what I mean? I have God to help me. Even though I'm married and I have children and I have a wonderful life, there are things that I cannot confide in my husband in, that I have to bring to God, you know? I I tell my husband everything, but there are just some things that I'm going through sometimes that I just cannot even begin to tell my husband or to describe to my husband what I'm going through. Only God can help me through it, in other words. So just listen to me. Listen to me when I say this. Don't wait anymore. What are you waiting for? Don't do it anymore. If you find yourself falling apart, if you find yourself at the end of your rope, if you find yourself in that hole, go to God, take it to God, open that Bible, start with the word. I know that everybody is like, well, I don't know where to begin with the word. I don't understand the word. That's not an excuse. There's so many different Bible translations nowadays. There is so many different ways that you can get the Bible through the internet. Ask a friend, go to church. I mean, ask your church, even if there's a church down the street, ask the church if they have a Bible that you can have. I'm sure that they would give you one. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever it takes to get your hands on a Bible. Because if you don't have the word, then I'm sorry that there's hardly any starting place. Start with the word, start with prayer. Pray to God. God, please help me. You know, first of all, ask God to forgive you. Say, God, please forgive me. Forgive me of my sins. Forgive me for all my shortcomings. Father, show me what it is that you do not like inside of me. Father, help me. Please help me. That's going to be a constant prayer. Help me. Enable me. This is always my prayer. Father God, show me what you do not like in me and help to enable me to get rid of it. Because you're not going to be able to do it on your own. I know it, that you're not going to be able to do it on your own. You have to have God's strength to get you through it. Anywho, I thought I'd share a little testimony with you guys on how I came to Christ. It's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that this journey is easy. It's not easy. It's something that I have to work through every single day. But it's worth it. It is worth it. It's so worth it. I can go on and on, but I just wanted to share that with you because this video is getting to 30 minutes almost, and I'm going to upload every bit of it too. But anywho, make sure that you guys take it to God. No matter what it is, take it to God. Get a relationship with God. Give your life to God. It is the better way. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and God bless you.